by having hard conversations, you are opening up the lines of communication so that your relationship's able to work and flow well. I feel like by avoiding having difficult conversations, you are allowing assumptions to be made or for someone to feel like expectations are being met, needs are being met when that may or may not be the case. And so without addressing like the elephant in the room, you guys are moving along, but you're not moving along well. You're not working well together, and it's not flowing easily because it's like there are certain things that are off, like we're going to avoid the elephant in the room, so we're just going to walk around it. And we're going to avoid that area. We're going to avoid the,
like brushing stuff on
the
rug,
So it prevents the relationship from flowing and
because you're basically...
This is the B-side, 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 the marriage. This is the B-side, 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 the marriage.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Bside of Marriage Podcast. I'm your host, Rashonda, and this is my husband and co-host,
Jason.
And here at the B-side, we talk about everything related to marriage, the good, the bad, the real,
the A, and the B-side.
Why are you smiling? You're extra smiling in today's intro.
Got a cut.
Oh, you're feeling yourself?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right. Well, it's kind of throwing me off. All right. So, if you're watching us on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe and comment. And if you're listening on any of the audio platforms, please be sure to rate, review, and follow.
As well, follow us on Facebook at The Bside of Marriage and on Instagram at Bside of Marriage.
If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. We're so glad to have you.
Yep.
And if you have been rocking with us before, thank you. Thank you for your continued support.
Definitely appreciate it.
We really appreciate it. So,
Where do we start at?
We'll start with our first segment.
I know, that's why I said that, because we normally say it. So.
Okay. Well, let's go right into our first segment where we share an A or B side moment from the week.
So, I'm going to go with an A side.
Okay.
Because as I thought about last week, had a lot of good things that happened last week,
Okay.
Like, as you guys know, I'm coaching, so kids gave their best. They was out there working hard. Mm-hmm. Didn't win. The first half, it was good. In soccer, first half was real good. They kept it to, I think they maybe scored one at the end of the half.
At the very end. Mm-hmm.
But then after that, they was just tired. So, but I guess I was happy with that, as well as the basketball team. Same thing. They still need to work on, but they pulled it out and won. And then I would just say Sunday, had a little men's outing, which was good. Being able to just chit chat and just chop it up with other men. That's that part of our Bible study. So it was pretty good. What about you? You just left.
I was thinking the whole time you were talking. I don't know. I don't know if I have an A or B side moment. I guess A. I guess we can go back. I guess we can say A, reclaiming my time.
Okay.
With me. Our daughter, she just completed her last gymnastics meet for a while. And so now each kid has a sport. Mm-hmm. And then our littles actually share the sport. So I feel like I'm getting a little bit more of my time back. I don't have to worry about going to practice.
Gymnastics practice, yeah.
Clinic, meets, meet prep, that's what I want to say. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be my A moment.
Okay. All right, and then our second segment is the P2P share, where we share something that we're reading, listening to, or watching. You go.
Yeah, I go first because I'm ready for this section.
Okay.
All right, so I follow The Basement with Tim Ross. It's a podcast, and streams on YouTube as well. But the last episode, the episode I'm going to recommend is God Is Not Enough. And it goes into the purpose of marriage, the importance of premarital counseling, the objective of pre and post-marital counseling and therapy. And it was just really good. And so it just really, it just confirmed some things that God had been telling me about the B-side. And then it just also just kind of like made me think that, yes, we are getting some things right in this thing called marriage. Because sometimes you don't be knowing. So, yeah.
All right, so we're talking about this. I'm still on the year devotional that I'm doing with a book with Tony Evans, Dr. Tony Evans. And last week, I think it was Friday, I was reading, why can't I think of it? I'm just gonna pull it up so I ain't gotta think about it. Hold on, I'm sorry. It was 28. Nope. Yeah, so it was Matthew. Yeah, it was Matthew 5, verses 14 and 15, and John 8 and 12. And basically, as I was reading through the passage, it kind of, not even kind of, it reminded me of a nickname that I've had most of my life, which was, for me, it was like, it was meant for as something that my aunt used to say as a joke. And I say as a joke because I was one of the lightest kids in my family, so she used to call me Light Bulb. And just from reading that scripture, it was interesting how, the name that she gave me and that she still calls me to this day, I never had a problem with it because to me it was just, who I guess not say who I am, but I accepted it. And as I look back on that name, it's interesting how much light I've brought to different people in my family by making a choice for something and sticking through that choice. And then as I grew up and got older, like I said, even now when I was reading it and I thought about it last week, it really made me think like a lot of people come to me for things, for, I don't say wisdom, but they always, feel like they come to me and it's like, I felt like, oh wow, this name Light Bulb I've been bringing light to people that may have been in darkness and stuff like that. So it was kind of interesting.
That is.
Right, it's interesting,
It is.
to say Light Bulb. She's, she's been calling me that since I was little, and then just to even like come full circle and think about it that way, I was like, wow. So, but yeah, that came from. It's called A Time to Get Serious, and it's a 365-day devotional. So every 4 weeks they have certain aspects that he's covering. So you're going through it each day, Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday you have a reflection period that you do. So if you're interested in that, go and get the book. It's awesome though. It really is.
Cool stuff. All right, so let's get into today's topic.
All righty. So what we talk about?
We're talking about having hard conversations. So I know last week we talked about basically showing up in your relationship when you don't feel like it. Mm-hmm. Well, this is, I feel like, the natural next thing for us to kind of dive more into how to have those hard conversations. And why it's important and just so forth. So That's what we're going to talk about. So I guess, have you ever had, has it ever been difficult for you to bring up a certain topic or subject?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, like you said, it's you know, it's been, even from when we got married, you know, when we went to the retreat, like, you know, they told us to get naked and take a shower and just, you know, tell your vulnerable thing that you have. It's, yeah, I've had many of those. Whereas,
Okay.
yeah, but because it's, you know, and I say it again because, you know, we've come, you know, we have different experience. We grew up differently. We grew up in 2 different states, different culture. Being in Texas as versus New York, it's just still the same thing. So, and then for me, it was more of, you know, fear of how you respond to the vulnerable thing I'm trying to tell you. Being scared, being like like I said,
scared.
Just more scared, scared of your reaction because again, I can't say I've been scared of being vulnerable with you. But the simple fact is to be able to tell you something that is a truth for me that, you know, I want to either not so much share with you, but tell you what I'm, you know, something that I'm missing or something that I want to learn more about, but I just may not know how to say it. And, you know, and again, sometimes when you have these hard conversations, you have to, you know, like, and I don't know what you're going into say, so I don't want to. I was gonna go into saying some things that you should do, but I'll wait.
Wait part. But I guess I just want to explore more of the reasoning why. Like, why is it hard? Why is it difficult to have hard conversations?
Like, it's a number. I guess there's a number of things. You know?
Okay. I know you mentioned fear.
Yeah, it's a number of things because. Again, as being the husband, as being a provider, some like those, like, and I'll say like those moments of you may not be feeling like you're able to provide for your family. That's a vulnerable thing, and it's like I don't want to, and I'll say it like this: I don't want to scare you, and feeling that, you know, that I don't feel like either I'm not so much, I guess, worthy or that I won't be able to provide for you. It's, you know, I guess that's what I say. It could depend on the situation. Okay. You know, if it's, like I said, even just getting, and again, we've been together almost 16 years total, but married 14. There's still some things that I want to learn about you, but sometimes, not say sometimes, it's more to the fact where I don't want it to seem like I'm coming out of left field with something, and you'd be like, where did that come from? And it's like, so it's just like I said, it's more of the fear of how you're going to respond to it. Okay. You know, and not really knowing how you're going to respond. It's like, so I talk myself out of it. I'm like, well, I'm going to say this, she's probably going to do this. I'm not going to have a conversation. So. Okay. That's how I look at it, so.
Okay, for me, I think that it can be a way of protecting either myself or you from what I need to talk about. Okay. So it can be protection for myself because kind of like what you just said, like you be like, oh, because if I bring it up, he's gonna say this, I'm gonna say this, whatever, and that I'm just not gonna have the conversation. So basically kind of to avoid conflict. Or it could be, I don't want the perception of me to change. Okay. So I'm not gonna bring it up. Okay. Because I don't know how it's gonna change, how it can affect how you see me. Gotcha. Also, it could be I can bring it up and you completely downplay it. So that's kind of like a form of rejection. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's another thing. Yeah, that's definitely a big thing. Rejection. Yeah.
So I wouldn't, bring it up. And yeah, but I already kind of said, like, just to avoid a conflict. Yeah. Like, I don't feel like fighting about this, so I'm just not going to talk about it. Yeah. Because I already know, like, he's not going to agree, or, we've talked about this before. We tried to talk about it before, and it didn't go well. that can be another thing. Like, it's something that you have attempted to talk about, but it did not go well. So you're like, I'm just not going to do it again.
So like for instance, and I'll give a for instance.
Okay.
The house we live in right now, I didn't want to move from my last house.
Yes.
And that, I would say that's the type of, I would say, a conversation. Like, I didn't want to move. I moved around when I was growing up. You know, we found a house. I didn't want to move. But God, that's all I got to say.
Well, and to be clear, it's not just anything that has to do with like a house. Like anything that's over a certain dollar amount, Jay does not want to do it. He does not want to partake. He doesn't want to do it. So so he can use the example of the house, but it's more than that. It is more than that.
You're right. I don't like spending money like
he
that.
does
Especially
not.
big dollars like that. House money, like,
House, car, a significant like vacation. Home projects. So it's just, it's not just.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is a conversation that we've had.
Yeah. That's why I'm laughing.
And we are actually still having that same conversation.
In the new house, but still having a conversation.
I mean, just about because of the approach, because it can be a sore subject.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say a sensitive subject, because especially when we're talking about like home projects or mostly home projects, because Jay is a jack of all trades. He thinks that he can always do it himself. And so, it just raises up point of contention. So we don't need to go there now. But yes, that is a good example of hard conversations that we've tried to have. We've gotten better. Mm-hmm. But these are conversations we've tried to have, and they didn't always go well, but they're getting better. But okay. So we've touched on why a person might avoid trying to have hard conversations. Mm-hmm. But now let's talk about why it's important to have these. Okay. So one of the things that I wrote down was by having hard conversations, you are opening up the lines of communication so that your relationship's able to work and flow well. Mm-hmm. I feel like by avoiding having difficult conversations, you are allowing assumptions to be made, or for someone to feel like expectations are being met, mm-hmm. Needs are being met when that may or may not be the case. And so without addressing like the elephant in the room, you guys are moving along, but you're not moving along well. You're not working well together, and it's not flowing easily because it's like there are certain things that are, like we're going to avoid the elephant in the room, so we're just going to walk around it, and we're going to avoid that area. We're going to avoid the,
like brushing stuff on
the
rug,
So it prevents the relationship from flowing and
because you're basically you're making a detour instead of making a beeline. So instead of going from A to B, you're going A to C. So you're moving around, so it prevents that natural flow of how you should have conversations.
Right, and you appear like everything is good, but inside you're not.
Correct. Well, that's true. Like you said something, and it kind of just went out of my head. I was gonna kind of add to, but I lost it.
So you want me to go on to the next one?
Yeah, just go into the next one. If it comes back, I'll just
So that leads to when you avoid, when you feel like your expectations are being unmet, and you're avoiding certain topics or scenarios, mm-hmm. then what you're in essence is building up resentment. Mm-hmm. Because you're either resenting your spouse for either things that they are not doing that you believe that they should be doing, mm-hmm. or you're resenting them for doing things for the opposite.
Okay.
So, for example, if I'm wanting Jay to help cook dinner, Like, I don't want to have to cook dinner every day of the week or whatever. But he thinks that I want him to help out more on doing the kids' homework. So if I don't address that expectation with Jay, he's thinking that he's doing a good job.
Yeah.
Like he's really helping out by helping doing the kids' homework. When I'm like, I actually want to help with homework. I want you to actually cook because I'm tired of cooking, or or figuring out what we're gonna eat for dinner or whatever the case may be. But just in that little instance, I'm like, oh, there he go again, avoiding helping me, and putting the kids before me. Like, you can see it so many different ways because you're not just talking about the thing. Like, it could very well be like, I feel like I'm doing all of the household things. I need you to help me out. But if you're not going to have that conversation, I'm just going to resent him for, in that scenario, prioritizing the kids over me. So.
I don't have anything else to go with that because, again, it's... we tell our kids, we're not mind readers, we're not magicians. So it's like, if we can tell our kids that, why is that something we can't have a conversation with our spouse and be like, okay, again, like for me, and I've done this in the past, even, like I said, I'm saying the past, I'm not saying up to this year, but prior to this, I would just ask her, like, okay, what is it you need me to do?
Yes.
Sometimes she'll tell me, oh, okay, I got it. But still, I know there's something she needs me to do. Because again, she doesn't want, at that time when I was working, we didn't have that amount of time to communicate. So she would just say, I got it. And I'm like, I know you don't got it. I know you need me to help you out with something. I don't know what that is. So like, for instance, like, I was like, all right, I'm just going to do this. So I did all like, started working on our budget, doing some stuff. And then I told her I did. She's like, oh, but you forgot to do this. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, wait, but you always say you want me to help you. But then I didn't do something that she normally does. And I'm like, okay, but if in my head, it was like, if you would have told me that, I would have did it. But she didn't say that. So I just assumed that's what would help her. But in essence, it made her do more.
Yes.
So.
And that is a great example because one of my, I guess, defense mechanisms. I'll say one of my defense mechanisms is like, if I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm not going to hand over anything to you because I feel like it will take me longer to explain to you how to do whatever it is that that you could do that would help me. Yeah. But because you hadn't been doing budgeting, you haven't been doing our budget for
a few years.
Yeah, that's what I was like. A few years, we had changed systems, our processes, and I was just like, I'll just do it, like, because then if you do it and you don't wait for me to give you the instructions, then more work. Yeah. So that was like, I'm just like, don't worry about it, I got it. And that was very frustrating on both our parts because I'm frustrated because I'm like, I told him I didn't need any help. And he's frustrated. He's like, I know she needs help. I was trying to, help her out. So, yeah. And I think that really is a nice segue to another reason why you should have these hard conversations is because it reveals blind spots. So I feel like I'm more self-aware now. Definitely more self-aware now than I was when we first got married. Definitely. But there's still blind spots. There's still things that I do that I don't recognize that I'm doing. Okay. And if it is really causing it a negative or causing any tension or anything in our relationship, I would really hope that we have built up enough trust and respect to be able to have the hard conversation to address it. Because I'm clearly is literally a blind spot. Yeah. So.
But it's also too how you receive, okay, so I'll say like this, how it's phrased and how it's received. Because if you go in negatively.
Well, that
Okay, I'm sorry.
You're
Go
jumping
ahead.
the gun.
I didn't know.
We're not giving tips yet. We're
I'm
still
sorry.
addressing the
I'm
importance
sorry.
of why.
Sorry.
But yes, what you're about to say is correct, but we're going to hold that a little bit longer. But yeah, it's like, if I respect and I trust you, I should be able to bring these things to, I should be able to bring it up.
But again, and I'll just kind of playing devil's advocate.
Okay.
Maybe that's not the right thing, but that's what everybody says. You can trust somebody in one area and not trust them in something else. So, and I'll just say like, okay.
I'm sending an example. What?
I'm trying to think. Okay, so for instance, I had a friend that I knew that he took care of all the finances. His wife trusted him with the finances. But the wife didn't trust the husband when he went out.
Okay.
So it's like she can trust him with taking care of the finances or providing for the home, but him going out, it's a different level of trust.
That's fair.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Is like,
Well,
so
yeah,
you're saying,
but I'm
like,
saying, but there's trust there, right? I'm saying in general, within the relationship, there should be a general respect and trust that I can bring up.
Gotcha. Okay.
The fact that I don't trust you when you go out with your friends. Like I can bring up the heart subject, the difficult conversation, and we can have that because I, in general, trust you as my spouse.
Okay. No, I got you.
So not necessarily not saying that I trust you in all the things, but the fact that I can trust that we can have this conversation.
Gotcha. Okay.
About what it is that I actually am not trusting you in.
Okay. No,
that area.
Gotcha.
All right, so let's jump to tips because I feel like you're about to do another recommendation. So we have some tips on things that we've tried and things that we know others have tried that have been successful that can help you have these hard conversations.
I'm sorry. You just said, we skipped to the tips because everything you said, everything I had a tip for.
That's why I was like, we're just going to go on right in it.
When you said, I was like, wait, was she? You know what? I had a tip for everything at this point. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right. So I think for me, one of the most important things that I had to learn when trying to bring up a conversation or a difficult conversation is to make sure that it's not done like it's not rushed. It's not like just done in a kind of ad hoc way. Meaning like if there's something that I need to have a conversation, like we need to have a serious conversation about, let's set up some time. Now I also know that I can't say, hey babe, I need to talk to you about something and then not talk about it because then that sends him down a...
You can't, she can't say, okay, I want to have a talk to you, but we're going to talk tonight, 9:30. And it's like, it's 1 o'clock. Like I said, I get a text like that. It's like, huh? I'm not focused on anything at work because now I'm going down a rabbit hole trying to figure out, did I do something crazy? Like I'm thinking of all these things like, what did I do now? And I'm not saying that I do so, but still, that's your first, what did I do?
Yeah. So we had tried to set up like every week, like it would be a certain time we would talk about hard conversation, like hard subjects. We just go ahead and set that time. We moved away from that just because now that he's home more, it's like, hey, I need to talk about this. Is now a good time or like when is a good time for you? So it's like, it's more fluid. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. It's more fluid.
It flows better.
It's more fluid now because the availability has increased. So, but it's just like, hey, there's something on my heart. We need to have this conversation. Or if you're setting, if you have a time set, like, hey, every Friday, well, I wouldn't say do it on a Friday, like every Tuesday morning or evening.
You go for a walk and talk.
Yes, 30 minutes. We're just going to talk about things that I have been wanting to talk about that, we haven't had that ability to kind of focus on it. So that way you'll come prepared to just have a conversation, not necessarily come prepared with defenses.
That's what I was gonna say. I was definitely gonna say that because, when you
This is
phrase
just that. Yes.
when you
So
phrase
this
a
just
conversation like that, saying that we want to have a conversation on this time, this day. If it was phrased like, okay, we need to talk tonight when you get home, you're already charged in defense mode right now because you're trying to understand, okay, what is going on. But when you're actually phrasing like, are you setting this time? This is the time where you can go and seriously put on your active listening ears, and I say listening ears because our kids when they're in school, but still you put it on your active so you can actually hear, not just listen, but hear what your spouse is telling you. And, and it's not about you taking it to heart. Like I know when we used to do it, we used to always pray first, make sure that, the atmosphere is set where we can be able to receive and be able to speak on whatever we're feeling about. So,
yes. So Jay just walked over all the rest of them. So we're just gonna try to figure. We're gonna have to unravel them. All right. So first, set up a time to talk. It needs to be mutually agreed upon, and I would say it doesn't need to go longer than an hour, because two other tips that we're gonna give you in a second that Jay's already mentioned. Okay. So once that time is set up, you want to go in or start off with positives. So it can be from something as simple as, I just want you to know that I'm appreciative of you setting aside time for us to talk about the things that are concerning me. I appreciate, that you, and then like something that they've done that you really are appreciative of. So like, I really appreciate today how you took the kids to school, so allowed me to have more prayer time or not be rushed for prayer time this morning. And then you can go into the business. Now, what do you have to say?
I say hit them with the ooh-wee after that.
No. Yes. But you definitely want to start on the positive. Yeah. Like Jay said, we used to start off, well, like I said, we haven't have a formal conversation in a while. Yeah. But we used to start off with prayer because that will ground us in what we're about to, talk through. And then we would start off with a positive, like both of us would say something nice about each other, what we appreciate or what we're grateful for in regards to our partner. Yeah. So then you want to make sure that you are giving up the right or the need to be right. The purpose of the conversation is for you to share your heart, not for there to be a right and a wrong, or for you to defend. So for instance, with us, if I'm initiating the conversation, Jay should not come in ready, like defensive, because I just want to share with him something that is on my heart that is concerning to me. I'm not attacking him, because we never attack each other. We always attack the problem together. So I'm not attacking him. I'm attacking that this is what's concerning me. Yep. So he should not get defensive, and that's vice versa. Like if he's sharing his heart, I shouldn't be trying to interrupt and jump in so that I can defend myself, because that's not the point. It can be hard, especially for me and my husband being so detailed oriented, for me to not interrupt or to try to move the story along. But I am learning. But like Jay said, it's really an exercise of active listening. I'm listening. I'm listening to how he feels, how, if anything, if it's something that I'm doing, how that is coming across. So basically, I'm listening to understand, not listening to defend.
Yeah. So like, okay, so she said kind of in the beginning, not in the beginning, but in what she just said, the key to this is conversation.
Yeah.
Conversation takes two parties. In order to have a conversation, one person has to listen, the other one has to talk. That means you have to listen to what they're saying. This is not a boxing match where I'm gonna throw a punch at you and you're gonna throw a punch at me. That's not what conversation is. If you're throwing punches back and forth, now you're boxing.
I said that's a fight.
Yeah, that's not what. If you're having a conversation, it's about two parties talking, having a conversation. One person's gonna talk, then the other one is listening while they're talking. Then, like I said, active listen. Then you're gonna say, okay, what I heard you say was.
That was next.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Oh,
Go, keep going. No, that's good.
What I heard you say was blah 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 blah, and then I feel from what I heard you say, blah 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 blah. Is this what you're saying? Then what you're doing is giving it back to your spouse to be able to say, no, what I'm trying to say is this, and then. You guys that's conversating because you're getting an understanding of what they're saying. Then you're taking what they say and say, okay, this is what I heard you say. Is this what you said?
Is that what you meant?
Yeah, is that what you said? Is what you meant? No? Okay, so what is, well, like what, and I'm not saying what is it like, what is it? I'm just saying like, okay, so what are you trying to say then? But,
right. So then I would be like, I'm sorry, that's not what I was intending, or that's not what I meant. So I would then use different language to help him get to an understanding of what I'm saying. The critical thing here is to not, is that you do need to reflect. So that was the word I was going to say.
Oh, okay.
After someone's saying something or says, expresses their heart, then you need to reflect on what you heard so that and that's what I was going to say. That was the word I was looking for, is that you have to reflect on what is being said or what is being heard, sorry. So after I express my heart, then you would reflect on what you heard to make sure that they are in alignment.
Correct.
And like I had mentioned earlier, it's all about getting an understanding. So even if what I heard I don't agree with, that is okay, because I'm trying to get an understanding of why my spouse feels the way that they feel about whatever, either the behavior or the lack of action that's been taken on my part or on the subject. And another thing that I wanted to mention that aligns with this is that this also, when you're sharing your heart, you also are sharing things that you are prioritizing that is important to you. So, for instance, we had talked about this earlier about when we talked about communication, and that I, for some reason, thought that I was a comedian or whatever. Anyways, I would be very sarcastic. I had a very sarcastic and sharp tongue.
Yeah.
When we started dating, actually. So, but I carried that over when we got married. And so I would say things that were very sarcastic and not funny to Jay. But myself, I thought I was
and in
great.
front of people too.
And in front of people, yeah. And so that was difficult. That was something that, a difficult conversation that we had to have. Yeah. But basically, when we talked about it, he had to share with me how important it was for him not to be basically the butt of my jokes. Yeah. And while we're, in mixed company, to me, that wasn't important. I thought, it was funny. I was like, whatever. But because it was something that he cared about, I didn't know that until we had that conversation. Then I'm like, okay, well, I'm not a comedian, so it's not worth me getting him upset just to make a couple people chuckle. Yeah. It wasn't like I'm a stand-up comedian or anything. So anyways, the moral of the story is I found out what was important to him, and then I was able to change my behavior because of what I heard. I heard it was disrespectful as well as it was just hurtful to him. So it didn't make any sense for me to continue on with that behavior. So, okay.
No, I was like,
I thought you was about to say something.
the only thing I was gonna say is like, and that's we've said this multiple times on the podcast. Get you guys a safe word, a word that only is meant for you two, so you understand when your spouse is getting to a certain level that you're not happy with or you don't want. You can use the safe word, and that safe word allows, again, she said it to me, I've said it to her. And it quickly will allow to shut down whatever's going on. And the thing is, a lot of people don't even pay attention because, like, for us, we just have a word that I can slip in anywhere, and they people just keep talking over it. So,
yeah. And so our last tip is to stay focused on the main thing. And I know we've said it over and over again. You want to keep the main thing the main thing.
Yep. Don't be pulling baggage out from 5-10 years ago. Like, no, that's no.
Or even yesterday. But I'm just saying, don't, if I'm initiating the hard, the conversation, and I'm talking about how I feel like you're always on your phone. Don't bring up, well, you went out with your girls a couple days ago.
That's nothing to do with what we're talking about.
But I'm talking about how I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I felt because you went and then you did, and so then I did. Wait, no. And a way for you to manage that, in the moment, is just saying, "Hey, I understand that must have been very upsetting for you, but can we talk about this next time we have a conversation, or at another time, or if it's like a weekly thing at our next time, whatever. But address it, acknowledge that, okay, I understand that was very upset for you, it was very upsetting to you, and that's something that we do need to discuss in further detail. But right now we're addressing this, so can we talk about that at another time?
Yeah, again, we all have phones. Make a note.
If they can make notes,
Make a
whatever.
note. Tell the person you can talk to on the phone. Set a reminder to talk about this.
Exactly.
And then you could just, like I said, you will be able to have that conversation later as long as you're remembering. Okay, there's something I want to talk about. Don't go into we had we said we was going to talk about something. I can't remember.
Because that happens all the time. All the time. I was going to talk to you about. Because at the end of the day, that it might seem big in that moment, but then other things happen, and then you're like, wait, what?
Yeah. I was going to talk about what?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So that's why you need to stay focused on whatever it is that you're talking about at that particular moment.
Correct. And
what you're talking about is working together toward a solution. I shouldn't bring up a concern and then already have a solution in place that is the solution we're going to go with.
Yeah.
Now I can have a recommendation or I can have a suggestion, but I can't be okay, so you're on your phone all the time. We talked about it. You know why I don't like it. Okay, so therefore now your phone cuts off at 9:00. What? No. You can't.
You don't punish.
That's what's that's very much being you're trying to parent your spouse.
Yeah.
No, it's you bring up the concern, then you guys can work to a mutually agreed upon solution. So that also both of you all, because you're both engaged, is more likely to actually be enforced.
Yeah.
Because if we're both a part of the creation of that solution, then I'm gonna own my part. He'll own yours. It just works better.
Yeah, you're right.
So, all right. Do you have anything else?
No, I feel like I kept jumping the gun. So I
don't have anything else but the marriage advance tip.
Like I said, I don't.
If you have something, speak now. The floor is yours because there's nothing else but my tip.
No, I was able to say everything that I can, even though I got cut off a couple times. But again,
I was just trying to make it flow.
I didn't know the notes that she had. She said something. I know, but I'm not. I don't want to I want you to get what you got out, because if you're gonna have me like, huh? Wait, what's she? So I don't want to do all of that while we talking.
But it's a shared note. You could have read it before we started recording.
That's true.
So.
But no, I got anything else. I'm good.
Okay, so my marriage advance tip is that having hard conversations create opportunities for growth by addressing concerns, behaviors that need to be improved on, or it's just improved to make your relationship work better. It's guaranteed growth for you as an individual as well as your relationship. So don't avoid it. And like we had mentioned earlier, when you're having these hard conversations, you're not talking at each other to try to win.
You're not boxing.
Is that you're bringing concern so I can address that concern, that issue together to come up with a solution so y'all can then walk it out. Like y'all addressing the problem together.
But like I said, you said it prime. Just like when you look in the mirror, you're looking at a reflection. That's how your conversation be. Okay? When you look in the mirror, you see yourself bouncing back to you. So that's how the conversation be, that you're reflecting what each other's saying, because when you're reflecting, you're actually hearing what each other is saying. Okay? If you're not reflecting, and what it's doing is basically just going right past you. You're not reflecting, you're just allowing it to go past you. So.
Yes. Oh, I just thought about something. I forgot. Also, don't hit below the belt. So I guess it goes back to the marriage advance tip about how you guys are working. Y'all not fighting each other. You're fighting together against the problem. Mm-hmm. Because when you bring up something, and then if you start either being defensive and hitting below the belt, or even when you're bringing up the issue and hitting below the belt, it's an attack on the person, on the individual. And that is not the purpose of having the conversation. You never want to attack each other. You want to attack the problem.
So if this helps when you have conversation, sit like this. Don't sit like this.
Oh, facing each other.
Facing each other, because it's a reflection, but that's not attacking whatever it is. If you're sitting next to each other, you guys are facing whatever's you're being attacked, or that's attacking you guys. You being facing
I would say if that works well for your relationship, do that. Some people might need to be seen, need to look in each other's eyes.
But you can still do that. But
I'm just saying, it works for us. It might not work for someone else because they might not have a camera that can see themselves. I'm just saying, some people need that eye contact. That might be the first time they get eye contact from their partner.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
I'm not saying you. It's incorrect. That's true. It's part of the tip.
Okay. That's a recommendation.
Just a tip.
Okay. That's it. Show's over.
All right. Well, if you like this, like I said, just like and subscribe. Hit the bell so you can be getting all notifications when new episodes come out.
Yes.
As well as share with friends. And then if there's any topics you guys have that you guys want us to speak on, just send us a DM, as well as you can email us. You can go to our website, the bsideofmarriage.com, and just hit the contact button, send us the information there, and we will work on it.
All right.
Is that it?
Yes, that's it.
All right. Till next week, y'all.
Peace.